Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Dennis Khrulov, with forecaster Kyle Eck. So Kyle, we've had some warm conditions this last week. Do you see these conditions lasting as we head into blue and white weekend?
Yes, emphasis on the warmth. We'll scale it back a little bit, but the sunshine, it's going away. I think we have some more showers and storms to move through our area Saturday and Sunday. A cold front blows through later in the day on Sunday, and then we cool off early next week.
I'm excited to hear about the cooler conditions next week because I feel like this week came a little bit too soon with the warmth. It should be saved for, I think, May or June.
Of course.
Anyway, we do have some interesting nature and news stories lined up for you this evening. Kyle, what do you have to add?
Sure, so one of my nature and the news stories consists of allergy season and its symptoms, and my other story consists of the triple dip La Nina we recently got out of and how we may be transitioning to El Nino and what that can have in terms of our weather impacts. What about you?
So I'll be talking about the active severe weather season that has plagued much of the United States so far this year. And then my second story will be talking about a weather phenomenon that actually helped to bring the warmer conditions across much of the Northeast this past week.
And David Guerrero later in our show is going to be having a feature. He's talking about the weather on Mars. So it's going to be very interesting later on.
Anyway, let's jump into the first nature in the news story. As to no surprise with recent news headlines, you may think severe weather and tornado season has had an active head start. Well, you haven't thought wrong. Since ringing in the new year, a total of 494 tornadoes have been confirmed by the National Weather Service. This is nearly double the average through early April. In terms of deaths, unfortunately 61 have lost their lives due to tornadoes, almost at the annual average of 71. A possible cause of the high death toll may be correlated to the overnight timing, in which most people are less likely to take action. Well, what has led to such an active season? A possible reason for the active severe weather season can be blamed on the atmospheric rivers that have been striking the West Coast. More often than not, these storms hold their intensity over the Rockies and help bring beneficial conditions for supporting severe weather across much of the United States. With us heading into the months of April and May, we are now beginning to enter the peak severe weather season. It is always good to be prepared for potential severe weather by having ways to receive severe weather alerts and have a safe location to take shelter in.
April has gotten off to quite a warm start across Pennsylvania. Trees and flowers have responded nicely to the increasing temperatures over the past few weeks. While the new greenery is easy on the eyes, it does spell the start of spring allergy season. Spring allergies are easily triggered by very dry air, accompanied by windy conditions, something much of Pennsylvania has seen during the second week of April. Allergy sufferers exposed to such conditions can develop what's called hay fever. This includes the symptoms such as itchy eyes, sore throat, and sneezing. Dry and windy conditions continued into April across the state as a red flag warning was posted for all of Pennsylvania on April 12th.
The abnormal warmth that came to the Northeast for the second week of April can be blamed on a neat weather phenomenon, a Rex block. A Rex block, named after Daniel Rex, is a weather pattern that helps to slow down the jet stream flow over the area that it develops. The pattern is considered a Rex block when a strong high-pressure system sets up north of a low-pressure system. Due to this, the low pressure is cut off from the jet stream, and the pattern just turns stationary. If you're located under the high-pressure system, which much of the Northeast was during the second week of April, temperatures have soared well above average for an extended period of time. Additionally, with these high temperatures, very dry conditions persisted as well. For those that were located under the low pressure system, days of cooler conditions and rain showers were to be recorded. These blocking patterns usually last for several days. However, on rare occasions, may last weeks.
For much of the past 3 years, the Western Hemisphere has experienced what's known as a rare triple dip La Nina. This led to a prolonged extreme drought across the western U.S. The triple dip La Nina also boosted tropical cyclone activity during both the 2020 and 2021 Atlantic hurricane seasons. In fact, those hurricane seasons were two of the most active hurricane seasons on record, with the Atlantic Ocean having 30 named storms in 2020 and 21 in 2021 respectively. With the end of La Nina now upon us, the U.S. Pacific West Coast has seen a deluge of rain and snow in recent months. The Climate Prediction Center anticipates rapid warming of the equatorial eastern Pacific Ocean through this summer and indicates greater than a 50% chance for El Niño to begin by August 2023. Historically, El Niño tends to suppress Atlantic hurricane activity in the Atlantic Ocean. It's been a very dry and a very warm second week of April, but the real heat doesn't come until Friday, where we could be seeing record-breaking temperatures across Pennsylvania. A lot of us will be experiencing highs in between 80 and 90 degrees. That's because we'll start the day out with mainly sunny skies in the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, but as the day progresses, we start to see some increased cloud cover. That's thanks to rain showers and storms moving from south to north associated with a low-pressure center off to our south. Now, also do note for Friday, humidity starts increasing from southwest to northeast, so we start to enter a different regime as we head into our weekend. You easily see this on Saturday. Our storm system I just mentioned is now in view over the Delmarva regions of the U.S. Now, along with that, we start to see some spotty showers, especially during the second half of the day on Saturday, and I can't rule out the threat for some thunderstorms in the mix with that as well. Now, all the while, we do keep the warmth in place, so in terms of temperatures, it's going to stay comfortable this Saturday. For Sunday, that storm system kind of meanders off the western Atlantic coastline, but again, we stay spotty showers for us on Sunday here in Happy Valley, but the rest of the I-95 corridor from New York to, say, Boston is going to stay stuck with more widespread showers. Off towards the west, our next storm system comes into view, bringing with it a line of showers and thunderstorms and breezy conditions, and these will bring winds of change in terms of temperatures early next week. So to recap your forecast for Friday, near record-breaking temperatures are in the forecast with the high getting to near 83 degrees. For Friday night, we don't cool down too much because we have clouds overhead. We'll go for a low of 58 degrees. And then for Saturday, we'll start the day off mainly dry but cloudy throughout. We'll see a chance of thunderstorms take hold, especially during the second half of the day, with the high getting to near 76. Then for Saturday night, we'll keep it overcast with spotty showers, again keeping it warm as well with a low in the mid-50s. And then for Sunday, we'll keep it wet but warm with showers as well with a high near 73 degrees. Coming up next in our show, stay tuned because David Guerrero has his feature on Mars weather.
With the new announcements of the new Artemis programs, it seems like the future mission to Mars is sooner than we thought. But before we send a man to Mars, we must first think about how Mars weather works and how it will affect future exploration.
The demand for Mars exploration started from the success of the lunar landings in the late 1960s and early 1970s. The Apollo missions demonstrated that humans could travel to the moon and explore its surface. This sparked a renewed interest in space exploration and discovery. Mars has long been seen as the next logical step for human exploration beyond the moon. It is a planet that shares many similarities with Earth, and its potential for supporting life has intrigued scientists for decades. Moreover, Mars is a challenging and fascinating destination that poses numerous scientific questions and offers unique opportunities for discovery. In recent years, the demand for Mars exploration has increased as the focus has shifted towards developing human missions to the planet. NASA's Artemis program, which aims to land humans on the moon by 2024 and establish a sustainable presence, is seen as a crucial stepping stone towards future exploration of Mars. Mars is the most Earth-like planet in our solar system, and its weather conditions contain key similarities and differences to Earth.
Earth and Mars both have some similarities and differences in their weather and climate. For example, on Mars, the day is just a little bit longer than the Earth's, 24 hours and 39 minutes. So kind of warm in the daytime, cool at night. But on Mars, it might be 0 degrees on the daytime, but 100 below at the nighttime. Very extreme temperature differences. We have similar seasons on Mars, in cold in the winter, warm in the summer. But in the winter, about a third of the atmosphere can actually freeze to the surface, forming CO2 seasonal ice caps and snow. On both Earth and Mars, we have clouds. On Mars, these would be thin, cirrus-like water ice clouds, as well as CO2 ice clouds, but much less water on the atmosphere of Mars than for the Earth. We have traveling weather systems on both planets. The cold fronts and warm fronts, high and low pressure that you might see on a weather map, we'll see on Mars as well.
Another weather phenomenon that is found on both Earth and Mars is the presence of dust storms.
And on Mars, we actually have dust storms, just like on Earth. But on Mars, we have some local storms, and they sometimes grow to regional scale storms. Those are pretty typical for Martian weather in dust storm season. But in some years, those storms become continent size, and then in some years, global dust storms. And those dust storms can actually cover the entire planet and last for weeks to months.
With this in mind, the study of Mars weather is essential for future exploration of the planet, as it provides valuable information on the planet's condition, which can impact human mission safety and success.
So by better understanding the atmosphere on Mars, we can have more precise landings that will actually be able to decrease the size of the landing ellipse and land in more difficult terrain. When we're operating on Mars, we want to understand some of the weather conditions that might impact rover operations. For example, dust begins to accumulate on solar panels for a rover. And over time, that dust can actually lead to kind of decreased power for the rover.
While scientists do have a general understanding of Mars weather, we still have a long way to go when it comes to forecasting for the red planet.
So future efforts might look to take numerical weather prediction models like we use for Earth, combine it with the Mars observing system, and actually try to do predictions of Martian weather in the future.
By understanding the weather patterns on Mars, scientists can better prepare for future exploration and develop strategies to overcome the challenges posed by the planet's harsh environment. Moreover, the weather conditions on Mars can provide critical information about the planet's geology, climate history, and potential for habitability. With this, continued research into Mars weather is essential for unlocking the mysteries of the red planet and paving the way for future exploration. For Whether or Not, I'm David Guerrero.
If you're a fan of the abundant warmth and the dry weather we've recently seen here in State College and throughout Pennsylvania, I think Friday is the pick of the weekend for you, especially with mainly sunny skies overhead and a forecast high getting into the low to mid 80s. We'll all be feeling the heat on Friday. Saturday is going to be a bit of a different story though. We'll start the day off mainly dry, but we can't rule out the chance for some showers and later on in the day, some spotty thunderstorms with the high getting only to near 76 degrees. For Sunday, we keep the showers in place, but also the warmth as well, with the high getting to near 73 degrees. And to start our next work week, a cold front moves through our region in time for Monday. We'll keep the clouds in place, but those temperatures are taking a tumble down through the 60s and into the 50s by Monday. Tuesday, we may struggle to reach 50 degrees as we begin to clear out somewhat, but high pressure takes hold Wednesday and into Thursday, and along with that, temperatures do rebound through the 50s and into the 60s, and by late next week, we may make a run once again for 70 degrees, and I can't rule out the threat for a few showers on Friday. So all in all, Dennis, I think it's going to be another mainly dry week ahead.
Thanks for your extended forecast, Kyle. Luckily, there is no severe weather in the forecast. Anyway, let's jump into the first Weather Whiz Quiz question. So this week's Weather Whiz Quiz question states, on average, how many tornadoes touch down in Pennsylvania each year? Is it A, 11, B, 16, C, 25, or D, 33? If you guessed B, 16, you are in fact correct.
Wow, Dennis, this is really intriguing to me. I personally thought there would have been more tornadoes in Pennsylvania each year.
I agree. Anyway, thank you for joining us this evening. Stay tuned for another jam-packed show next week.